Hey, Husker fans, I'm Sam McKewon along with Jimmy Watkins. This is the Pick Six Podcast Spring Football Position Preview, and we're talking wide receivers. This is one of the most talented groups on the team. It has been for some time, but it has also been one of the most inconsistent groups on the team. As we look at this group in spring, we first do a 4-year look back to the production over the first 4 years of the Scott Frost era. This particular position group gets a C-, and I'll be honest with you, they got a lot of that grade in 2018 when Stanley Morgan and J.D. Spielman were there. That was probably the best duo they've had in a really long time. Since then, it's been really inconsistent. Spielman had a decent year in 2019. In 2020, it was a total mess, and they really were not able to figure it out all season long. Guys couldn't get open, so on and so forth. In 2021, Samaria Toure emerged, but of course Toure is gone. He's graduated, and he's trying his hand in the NFL, and there were still times when it felt like Nebraska's most talented receivers, that being Xavier Betts and Omar Manning, were not consistently on the field. Jimmy, when you look over the first 4 years of production for this group, it just seems like it's been very uneven, hence the C- grade.
And it doesn't match what Frost had done previously at UCF and Oregon. I mean, when he was there, when he was at UCF, he had 4 500-yard receivers in 2 seasons. In Nebraska, he's had the Stanley Morgan, J.D. Spielman pair of 500-yard seasons, and then never had 2 500-yard wide receiving seasons in a season since then. And
right.
Again, but going back to Oregon, he had 2 a year when he was the OC at Oregon. He likes to spread the ball, and we're not looking for an Ohio State situation where you need 3 first-round picks.
It wouldn't be the worst thing.
Sure. But baby steps. We're looking for, let's get to half of what they've got over there, and they just have one first rounder, one draft pick would be great. And you had this year, Samaria Toure comes in and immediately zooms up the depth chart. He's a really nice player. He had a nice Shrine Bowl the other week, but him being able to come in and immediately grab Adrian Martinez's trust the way he did. Again, it's a situation where credit to Samaria Toure, but it also could be an indictment of the rest of the guys in that room. And you mentioned Xavier Betts, Omar Manning, exceptional talents that are in that room. The coaches don't trust those guys, and that trust bleeds down to the players. If a quarterback sees a coach not putting the guys out there in specific situations, that's going to influence how he feels about those guys when they are on the field. Good
news. Mickey Joseph is not the wide receivers coach. It's not Matt Lubick, and it's not Troy Walters. Mickey Joseph is considered one of the best wide receivers coaches in the country, and he just happens to be a former Nebraska quarterback. He coached Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson at LSU. Everybody knows how good those guys in the NFL. And he has now Betts and Manning, who I think, they don't have as much talent as Jamar Chase. But I think Betts is very talented. And I think everybody in that building down at Nebraska realizes the kind of player Xavier Betts can be if he is locked in and on all the time. I'm serious. Betts can be one of the 3 or 4 best receivers in the Big Ten if Joseph can turn that ignition all the way on. Betts is fast, he's a big guy, and he's got moves, and he is tough. And so it'll be interesting to watch to see how they're able to kind of motivate him and kind of turn the corner with him. Manning is a big-bodied guy who I think can help you down the field. He's got to get a little bit better in sort of those shorter routes, but he's a good post-up guy who can kind of make some plays over the middle. He's pretty physical, and I think he's a good number 2. But there's an interesting collection of players now here at Nebraska. Trey Palmer, 5-star transfer from LSU, had a decent year at LSU last year. He was kind of their number 3 receiver, kind of the slot guy. Isaiah Garcia Castaneda. He's a transfer from New Mexico State, also a slot guy. Similar to Samaria Toure, not as big, kind of a shiftier guy, but Joseph wants him in the offense. I think that's probably good news. Oliver Martin is back. Now, he's played at a couple other schools, and he's been inconsistent at Nebraska. They've got to find a niche for him, something that he's really good at. He earned Adrian Martinez's trust early, but then, it kind of went by the wayside a little bit. And then they've got a bunch of young guys, and we're going to have to see who emerges from that bunch. Alante Brown has played some in the first couple of years. Will Nixon didn't play a ton last season. Camonte Grimes, Sean Hardy, these are guys that haven't played a ton of football. Trell Neville is another one. All those guys redshirted last year. They've got Victor Jones coming in as a true freshman. He's an early enrollee. And then they got 2 more receivers, DeColdis Crawford and Janaran Bonner. They're coming later on. Bonner's the guy that they really, really like. But it's interesting that I feel like the talent there is really, really solid. Then you get a Brody Belt. You got a Wyatt Lever. You got a Ty Hahn. There's some players in this room. There's talent. There's probably more talent in that wide receiver room right now than there has been since Frost got there.
And it's a two-way street to see if they can get the talent to produce onto the field, right? It's on the guys who have been sort of in and out of the lineup to stay healthy, work on good practice habits, master the playbook, all those things. It's also on the new offensive staff to work with those limitations if they exist. If there is, if this guy just can't run as crooked a route as some of the other guys, if he's a better straight line route runner, all right, well, let's have him run 10 to 15 of those. So we're going to learn not only a lot about the guys that are in that receiver room this spring, we're going to learn about the new guys who are running that offense.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. In Mickey Joseph, Nebraska fans trust, and if they can come up with 5 good guys, that might be a very talented 5. We'll find out as the spring progresses. All right, for Jimmy Watkins, I'm Sam McKewon. Thanks, Husker fans.